Ja, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe SI Talk. Bin nach wie vor auf der PDEC und nach wie vor ein neues Interview, Integra Ressources, George Salamis. Wir haben vielleicht Integra, die Firma sagt vielleicht nur wen, das ist aber Integra Ressources. Wir haben schon früher mal ein Interview geführt mit Integra Gold, die dann übernommen worden ist von Eldorado. Ja, das ist die neue Firma. Schauen wir mal, ob die genauso erfolgreich wird. Sure, thank you to have time. And I say in my German introduction, Integra, most people know maybe Integra Gold. That's taken over by Eldorado. I think it was last year. Was it?
Correct, in July.
In July,
yes.
last year. This is the new company, what the team is bringing now forward. And this is our first interview, so it's a start interview. So maybe you can give us a rough overview for what commodity you look. By Integra Gold it was easy. By Integra Ressources it's more difficult. For what commodity you look, in which area you look, and what the flagship project is.
Yeah, sure, Joe. So first, I think the most important thing to recognize here, it's the same commodity, obviously. It's gold. Okay. We're gold bugs. It's what we've done all of our lives, right? But the important thing here is the team that built Integra Gold from a $10 million market cap to $600 million takeover over the period of about 5 years is the same team that has recreated Integra Resources. So once we sold the company, instead of everybody going out in 10 different directions, we decided to keep the team together because we work so well. It's a mix that works very well. There are so few good management teams and management teams that work well together, and so the important thing for us was to keep this team together. So we went out and we sat down and we said, okay, so what do we want to see as our next asset? Well, it had to look for us like the same asset that we had just sold to Eldorado for $600 million, which had to be in a safe jurisdiction for investment purposes. It had to be have access and infrastructure that was good. So we don't have to talk about building power lines for 100 kilometers or roads or port facilities, anything like that. It had to have those attributes. It had to have a mining history that we could point to. Okay. It had to have a resource base that we could point to. So it's a starting point. And it also had to be in North America. And so for us, that narrowed the playing field down, right?
It's coming down. It's
correct.
Shrinking dramatically.
Shrinking dramatically, exactly. And so when we were approached by Kinross in terms of buying this asset, which is a past-producing mine in Idaho, it produced a lot of gold, 1.6 million ounces of gold and about 100 million ounces of silver, with a large resource that's still remaining there. We said, okay, this fits all of the criteria that we were looking for. This fits everything that our shareholders invested in us previously for. So why don't we make a bet on this project? So the project is called Delamar, and it's in southwestern Idaho in the U.S. And so for us, it was a simple decision.
And you say you're looking also for a resource or old resource. What's this mean? Has this project a resource on it or a historical resource on it?
So it produced a lot of gold and silver in two phases. It produced gold in the 1880s to 1914, about 750,000 ounces of gold and about 60 million ounces of silver. But very high grades, sort of 15 gram per ton cutoff, 30 gram per ton average, so very, very high grades. And then the second history was low-grade mining by Kinross in the 1970s to 1998. The key point here is that project was shut down in 1998, not because there was no gold left, but because
the gold price
was terrible. I mean, I lived through that period in the gold business, where nuclear winter, no gold project worked at all at 260 gold. So it was shut down for those reasons, not for lack of reserves.
And what they have in the past and on the resource base?
So
before the shutdown?
So what we've done a 43-101 on these two projects. So Delamar is right next door to Florida Mountain in southwestern Idaho. So these are two projects essentially that we've acquired. And so we've done a 43-101, and we have 3.5 million ounces of gold between surface and 100 meters.
3.5
million ounces of gold.
I would say normally that's a word that may make a beep. Why Kinross sell this project to you?
So two things. One, in 1998, when the gold price was at 260, they had a decision to make. They would either keep the mine on care and maintenance for a short period of time, and then they would have to either reopen it according to the law or reclaim it completely. And because the gold price was so low for so long during that period of time, they decided to reclaim it. So they did all the environmental cleanup of the site. They spent, our estimate is well over $70 million reclaiming the site. And then once that project's in reclamation, they're not going to go back and open it up again. And then it really sort of sat under the radar screen for almost 20 years until we've given it a rebirth.
Okay.
Maybe at the time they viewed that the potential wasn't quite big enough for them to reopen it. I don't know what the primary reason was. All I know is for us, we saw those same attributes that we had in Quebec in terms of upside potential as we see in this project in Idaho.
You say upside potential. So from this side, what you are now planning, and where is really the upside?
So what focused our eyes, coming from Quebec and the asset that we sold to Eldorado, this was an extremely high-grade resource that we were developing into a mine, and we like those high grades. So for us, the low-grade resource that sits over top, the 3.5 million ounces, it forms like a mushroom. So picture a mushroom of 3.5 million ounces that sits here at the surface. Underneath it are these vertical veins that fed that mushroom, or the stem of the mushroom, that were mined by the old-timers back in the 1880s. Very high grades. This part has been moderately explored. This part has never been explored in any modern sense. We know that these grades were spectacular high grades, and so that's what we're drilling now. So our view is if we can take a project and maybe develop the low grade for a low cost and develop a very small but very high grade mine in parallel together, that to us is the beautiful part of this project.
This cap. Is this oxide or is this?
It's oxide in transitional material.
Okay.
Potentially
so oxide is potential heap leach.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So what do you really planned this year to on meter side? You must start from surface, so there is no underground work any longer.
No underground. No.
So you must start from surface. What do you plan on meters, on drilling? What is really your plan for this year?
So we've commenced drilling already. So which was an incredible feat for our geologists to organize a drill program in 2 months. Literally, this company is only 3 months old now, and so we're drilling out there now. We've finished 3 holes. We're on our 4th hole. We have in this first phase 18 holes to complete. In total, this year we'll be doing about 20,000 meters of drilling. So we'll be doing a fair bit of drilling, and other engineering-related studies on the site. But you're going to see a lot of drill information.
But do you focus this now on this high-grade zone, or also to confirm the cap, the lower grade?
So that's the beauty, Joe, is that we have to drill through the cap to get to the high grade.
To get this number.
So we are going very likely to get the low grade intercept and then the high grade underneath it, right?
When we say the cap, how deep or how width is the width of the cap, and when we come to the stem?
It's only about 100 meters.
Okay.
So it's shallow.
Okay.
All the drilling that was done via open pit by Kinross was from surface down to about 100 meters.
Okay.
So those feeder structures, those veins that were very high grade, started about 100 meters depth, and who knows how deep they go.
Wow.
And incredible grades too. We've seen some holes that Kinross drilled by accident, and they're spectacular.
So that's mean this year we see a lot of drill results. You do a lot of other works too, for sure. All the geophysics stuff for the
Absolutely.
Coming to share structure. It's a new company, but how's the share structure looks like?
So we have 56 million shares outstanding, no warrants. it's great to start a company's life without a warrant overhang. So the share structure is very clean. And so we raised $27 million in November during a very difficult period. I think, without the success of Integra 1.0, it would have been very difficult to do. Our shareholder base is in my career, this is about as good as I've ever seen it. So we have Pierre Lassonde and the Franco-Nevada executives who've invested in the company. They would own a large percentage of the company. Osisko Mining and Osisko Royalties, a large percentage of the company, and then Ross Beatty, Eric Sprott, and as well, we, the management, own about 15% of the company. We wrote
15%. That was the next question. 15%.
We have skin in the game. Yeah, we wrote some big checks.
Wow. I think this was a great starting interview. Next time, hopefully, when we see us, we have then more drill results.
We have drill results. Yes.
Then we can talk a little bit more. Hopefully, really high grade stuff.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you for this first introduction. Ja, also Integra Gold letztes Jahr verkauft für 600 Millionen an Eldorado. Das ist der Startpunkt eigentlich für Integra Resources. Das Wichtigste ist, sie haben das Management-Team, das Integra Gold gehabt haben, quasi 1:1 übernommen, um Integra Resources zu machen, weil sie sehr, sehr gut zusammenarbeiten und es ist extrem schwierig, ein effizientes, gutes Team zu finden. Dieses Team hat schon bewiesen, dass sie es kann. Sie hat in 5 Jahren von 10 Millionen auf 600 Millionen eine Company gebracht und haben im November 27 Millionen Dollar Raise gemacht, mit allen richtigen Leuten drinnen, von Osisko bis Franco-Nevada, die Gruppe, Ross Beatty ist drinnen, Eric Sprott ist drinnen, alle sind drinnen, das Management hat nur ungefähr 15%. So, also sehr, sehr gute Managementstruktur, Aktionärstruktur. Und was sie jetzt machen, ist, sie haben von Kinross ein Projekt gekauft, beziehungsweise waren 2 Projekte, die laut ärmeren Ressourcenkalkulation 3,4 Millionen Unzen haben bereits. Aber es ist mehr das Low-Grade-Stuff, aber trotzdem ist es da. Und was auch wichtig ist zu verstehen, das haben wir auch sehr stark besprochen, es schaut aus wie ein Schwammerl. Das heißt, wir haben oben den Deckel vom Schwammerl, das ist das Low-Grade, und wir haben den Stamm, das ist das High-Grade. Und das High-Grade ist 1880 bis 1914 abgebaut worden, wirklich hochgradig. Cut-Off-Grade war 15 Gramm, durchschnittliches Gehalt war 30 Gramm. Und sie bohren jetzt sozusagen, haben das Bohrprogramm gestartet, das 4. Bohrloch bohren sie jetzt. Sie wollen dieses High-Grade-Zeug bohren. Und weil das nie mit modernen Explorationen bebohrt worden ist, und sie gehen davon aus, dass da noch einiges da ist. Das Schöne ist an dem ganzen Bohrprogramm, dass sie überhaupt einmal auf das High-Grade-Stuff kommen, müssen sie durch den Low-Grade-Stuff zu. Das heißt, sie können gleichzeitig das Low-Grade confirmen, aber auch gleichzeitig das High-Grade finden. Und das ist eigentlich das Schöne an diesem Bohrprogramm. Das heißt, wir werden in diesem Jahr 20.000 Bohrmeter wollen sie bohren, viele Bohrergebnisse haben, und wenn die nur ansatzweise so sind, wie die historischen Ergebnisse sind, werden die spektakulär werden. Also echt spannende Sache, ich muss ehrlich sagen, zählt zu einer der besten Interviews, was ich geführt habe, und Integra Gold hat mir schon immer gefallen, und Integra Ressources, muss ich ehrlich sagen, das gehört ganz oben auf die Watchlist drauf, und finde ich extrem spannend. Das war's von Integra Resources, PDEC 2018. Tschüss und Baba. Thank you.
Dankeschön.
Oh, you speak German?
Oh, no.